Hi, so today I'm going to be going over a couple of boards that are dead. So this is a MacBook Air 820-3437 motherboard that was sent in with the problem that it is dead, it has no power. Now when I plug the DC in board in, I get a orange light on the charger, and that orange light in the charger means that the PP3V42 power rail is working. As I've mentioned in other videos, the one-wire circuit is powered off of that power rail. So what I want to know now is why is this not turning on? So all of the Core i5 and Core i7 series MacBooks, anybody who has plugged in more than 2 or 3 of these knows that all the Core i5 and i7 series, besides on occasion the 2010 A1286, will just turn itself on automatically. So if it doesn't turn itself on automatically, if it doesn't enter that SO state automatically, you can assume that something is wrong. This was sent in by some people that really don't have much business touching or refurbishing computers. It's just kind of one of those companies that has like a lot of fancy schmancy branding, but that doesn't know how to do anything. And one of the things that you'll see here is that, I mean, like on half of the machines that were sent, all the little connectors were just kind of ripped off. So let me just plug in the microscope here so that I can show you what I'm talking about under the microscope camera. How people like this get business is beyond me. I really think people just like they prefer branding to knowledge. Like it's not about branding. It's about, you know, the prettiness of the website and a fancy name and all that other shit. But that is the world that we live in. So let's look over here. This is the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like you couldn't leave the latch on even one of these. It would have killed you to leave the latch on one of these, which is why that most of these machines are going to the bottom of the pile. So when I get stuff that's been pre-fucked with, as usual, bottom of the pile. Why am I going to reward people that destroyed or sodomized or skullfuck something before sending it here? You know, I kind of want to reward the people that said, you know what? I shouldn't touch this because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Let me give it to somebody else. But I digress. Off rant and onto measuring, onto fixing, and we're going to do that now. So let's see if this thing is trying to enter an SO state. That's the first thing. So you got S5, S3, and SO. So when you plug the charger in, it's supposed to instantly kind of try to go to an SO state. So I'm going to open the board view and also the schematic for an 820-3437 so that we can go through the power rails and see what's present, what's missing, and try to get an idea of what it is that's going on. Oh, another thing this place does is they kind of include little tidbits of like where they think the damage is, which with the sticker. I am 99.9% certain that just because they are the ones that put that sticker there, that they are fucking wrong. So I am going to be completely ignoring that. I'm just pretending it's not there. Even though there is actual board damage under the sticker, I just don't care. I am so confident. I am so confident that has nothing to do with the problem that I'm just going to totally fucking ignore it. All right, so let's go over to the page of the schematic over here where you're going to see a list of power rails. I believe they moved that to page 63 or 67. That used to be on page 1, 2, or 3. Why put the most important part of the schematic in the beginning? Why not put it all the way at the end so that it's impossible to find? Why do we do that? Because Apple hates you. That is exactly why. So first things first, I know that I have PP3V42 because the one-wire circuit is working. I see a light in my charger. So first thing I'm going to do right now, let's check for PP bus G3 hot. Let's just see if you can see my multimeter. Let's see if that shows up in Open Broadcaster. It does. It's not amazing, but you can see it. So let's see. PP bus G3 hot is giving me, it's supposed to be 8 point something, 8.5, close enough. All right, next on the list, PP5V-S5. So when I go over to the board view software, just to give you an idea of what, here we go, what board view software looks like. So, okay, PP5V_S5. Let's see. It shows me on the board where it is. I can flip this, make sure it still stays plugged in. Okay, PP5V-S5. It's supposed to be over here. 5 volts, beautiful. So I switch back over to the PDF reader. I hate 1080p. I miss my 4K TV. This not only does 1080p suck, but this is like a bullshit 1080p monitor. So it's like one of those $100 ones. So it's a real piece of shit. I'm gonna skip PPV-RTC G3 hot because that probably comes from here, which works. Let's see, PP5V-S4RS3. Are you present? Let's see if you're on my motherboard. All right. So let's see. That's gonna be over here. Blah. So bottom to the left of the SPI ROM chip on the big capacitor over there. I get 0. Mofo. Mofo. I'm looking at the right place, right? Okay, so that's missing. Now again, since I don't have the best of memory, I'm just going to open a new Notepad++ file and make a note that that is missing. So this is missing. Alrighty. Obviously, PP5ESO is going to be missing because PP5ES4 is not present. Let's see if any other rails are going. This system is probably not even close to an SO state, but let's see. PP3V3SO. Okay. Yeah, not even close. So we are not getting to SO. Okay, now let's see. Let's see if PP5V4 underscore S4RS3 is not present. Let's see if PP3V3S4 is present. So is it one S4 rail that's missing or all S4 rails that's missing? If one S4 rail is missing, that may just mean that my chip is bad or something that's around there is bad, whereas every S4 rail is missing. That means that the signal is just not going out to turn any of the S4 rails on. So let's see if PP3V3S4 is there, right? So we go over here, PP3V3S4. Oh, 1080p sucks cock and balls. It really does. I don't know why I'm bitching. There are people doing this in other countries where their 1366 by 768 is like the best thing that ever happened to them. And I am bitching about being stuck at 1080p. Alright, so we are missing PP3V3S4. So pretty much whatever enables all the S4 rails is fucked. So now we kind of go to start exploring, and let's see what areas look kind of fucked on this board. And we're going to just go and click around and see what's relevant and what's not relevant. So the first part that looks fucked is this part under this red sticker here. So this is where they're trying to tell me what they think is the problem. So let's see what that chip... and I agree, that does look fucked, but again, I am not a fan of the self-estimate because it is so often wrong. And particularly with this set of people. But let's see, what does this chip and what the fuck does it do? You are U3220. I have a feeling that you're for DisplayPort or something that I don't care about. U3220. U3220. You are for Thunderbolt. I don't give a flying fuck about Thunderbolt right now. Thunderbolt can bite my ass, really. I mean, you don't turn on. Why the fuck would I care about Thunderbolt? Let's just see if that chip is shorting PP3V3 S4 to ground. That's the only thing that I care about right now. Are you shorting PP3V3 S4 to ground? So let's go back and see where PP3V3 S4 is. And let's just see if it's shorted to ground. I care. I don't give a fuck about Thunderbolt on a computer that doesn't turn on. Fuck Thunderbolt. That can be worried about at a later time. Again, I'm always talking about sequence and order. Okay, so diode mode measurement to ground is 0.335. That is not a short. A short is when you tap the leads together and you get 0. So when I put these two leads together and it says 0, that means that there's a 0 voltage drop across the points. That's a short. When I put it there and I get 0.335, that is not a short. So what's telling the S4 rails to turn on is not doing its job. So let's kind of try to find out what that is. So let's go back to the schematic, and okay, so let's just go over to where PP5V whatever S4RS3 is created, and let's see what tells us to turn on, shall we? All right, so what makes this? Is it U? Yes, it's U. Here we go, PP5V S4RS3. So this is told to turn on by enable 1, P5VS4, RS3N. Whoa, what did I just do there? There we go. So yeah, yeah, P5VS4 RS3 enable R. So this goes, where do you go? R7551, this turns to this, so where do you come from? And I always say measure the front of the circuit and the back of the circuit to save yourself time. So this goes out based on PM sleep S4L. Is PM sleep S4L present on my board? Let's see if PM sleep S4L is present on my board. Okay. Where is an easy place to measure it? No, I don't want to measure under the SMC. No, I don't want to measure on that little tiny piece of crap. I'll measure on that resistor. Oh yeah, I'll fuck with that resistor. That looks like something I can actually, I have a chance of touching. Okay, so when I measure PM sleep S4L on the multimeter, let's see what it is I get. So it's supposed to be right here next to this, can barely see it, tiny bullshit ass resistor. 0.197. And on the other side, I get 0.197. So that's the thing. That's what's interesting. It's not 0, but it's not 3. It's like it's trying to do something. So on both sides of that resistor, I get shit. So it's trying to put something out, but it's not really doing what it's supposed to. So let's go down the line and kind of see what else is going on with this board with the other power rails. So we're going to go back to, I think, page 63 is what I said has the power rails on it. Let's see what I get over here. Okay. Oh, I can't wait for the rest of my staff to come back. I can't wait to be able to go to sleep again. Going to sleep was so nice. You notice it when you don't get to go to sleep anymore, how much you missed it when you were able to. Oh, let's see. PP3V3S5. Let's see if you are present. PP3V3S5. Okay, there's a lot of places to measure that, thank God. Let's check. Alright. So, what the? I didn't anything yet, motherfucker. Wow. Alright. On that little piece of shit up here, we're supposed to see something. PP3V3S5 is there. And PP3V3S4 is not. So we're just going to continue making the list of the power rails that are missing. I know that the S01 is missing if the S401 is missing, so no need to check that. Okay, let's see what PP3V3 sus is talking about. And also PP3V3 underscore sus. PP3V3, alright, so over here, that is... It is gone. I need power on my BIOS chip. That's no good. I need PP3V3 underscore sus. So this is where sequence comes into play. This is where I'm always talking about sequence and how it's more important to understand sequence and how the circuit actually works than it is to just be guessing all the time. So I'm missing PM underscore sleep underscore S4 underscore L, right? PM sleep S4L. That's a signal I need for a lot of my S4 rails to turn on, right? I'm missing this. Let's go over here so you can see that. Now, this signal comes from the CPU. Well, it comes from the PCH, which in this board is inside the CPU, right? So I'm missing PM sleep S4L. What was I just talking about? Wow, I'm drawing a complete blank as to where my train of thought was just there. Ah, there we go. So anyway, so the SPI ROM tells this what to do. So this is the SPI ROM chip, U6100, or otherwise known as the BIOS, just because BIOS is easier to say than SPI ROM chip. Now this tells that what to do. So if I'm not getting power on this chip because my PP3V3 sus is missing, so let's see what pin 8 over here. So let's see, pin 8 is VDD, critical. I need this. Well, the critical is not on pin 8, that's just, critical is the chip. I'm losing my mind. I need to go to sleep. Anyway, VDD, VIN, or VCC, those pins are the pins that you see when... I forgot what I was talking about again. What was I doing on this page? What was I looking at? I wasn't looking at this. I'm not looking at SPI bus termination. Ah, okay, here we go. Yeah. SPI ROM. VDD, VCC, or VIN, those are the pins on the chip that are used to power it, to turn it on. So like, you know, on a light bulb, you have the positive, you apply power to that end of the light bulb and it turns on. Same thing here. This chip will not turn on if you don't supply power to that pin. So the BIOS chip, the SPI ROM chip, talks to the PCH. It's going to tell the PCH to do things like read these signals and then do this and do that and turn on and all sorts of stuff that, again, if you're a computer engineer, you're going to understand a lot better than I am. But the BIOS chip is required for the PCH to send any of those signals. If you take a perfectly working board and you just take away power to the BIOS chip, you won't get any of those signals out of the PCH. You won't get PM sleep S4L. You won't get PM sleep S3L and any of those. So, sequence. I'm not going to focus on, oh, let me heat gun my CPU. Oh, let me destroy my CPU. Oh, let me send 3 volts to that PM sleep S4L signal to see if that's going to get everything working, because I don't have a working BIOS chip. Again, sequence. So let's check what PP3v3 sus is talking about. Again, if you went down a rabbit hole checking every single component I forgot what I was talking about again. All right. That I'm sure I'll remember later. So let's see where PP3v3 underscore sus comes from. So PP3v3 underscore sus comes from, not there, that's a pull up to create rism risset. Rism risset. Okay, PP3v3 sus. Oh boy. Wait, I'm going to solve this half asleep or not. Here we go. I think I passed it. 3.3 volt sus switch. So PP3v3 underscore, well, mouthful. All right, PP3v3 S5 is here, right? We saw that. We saw that PP3v3 S5 was present. Now this chip, when it gets P3v3 sus enable, is going to let out PP3v3 sus FET, which after this resistor, which I guess is not here because it says omit, turns into PP3v3 sus. I don't have to look up what this chip does. This is just common fucking sense. It says sus switch. You have V in and V out and an on pin. So maybe, just maybe, if you have 3.3 volts on V in and you have the on has voltage on it, then you'll have power on out. So let's see what U8020 looks like on this board. U8020, and let's see if that looks good or foul. This is one of those things where you can't see what it looks like because it's covered in fucking underfill. You fucking pieces of shit. Looks, oh my god, look at this bullshit. All right, this is what pisses me off about new Apple products, man. Like, what the fuck is this? What is the meaning and the purpose of this bullshit? Like, fuck you. There's no measuring anything on that. Fuck out of here. And I'm not wasting time removing underfill. We're going to try to find probe points to that because I don't got time or sanity or sleep to remove underfill. Okay, so P3v3 sus enable. Where do you show up on here? Where's your probe point? All right, so thank God, right next to that chip, you're going to see a resistor. And this, so R8190, what are you for, R8190? I will look for that later. Let's see if we have this P3v3 sus enable. See what I'm talking about? No. Yes. So this. Okay, I just pointed at the monitor with my hand thinking that you would see that. Whoops. This. P3v3 sus enable. I'm going to measure, and let's see what we get over there. So let's plug this thing back in. Just try not to fall asleep. Company that's charging twice as what I do for board repair and not doing any of the work needs their board back. And figure this shit out. Okay, we get nothing. And next to it at that probe point there is Also nothing. Alright, so let's see. Where does P3v3 sus enable come from? P3v3 sus enable. Let's see. Let's chase this down. Let's chase this rabbit and kill it. Okay, you come from PM sleep sus L. Okay, this is becoming quite the rabbit hole. So PM sleep sus L is going to come from the PCH. What the fuck? Which is not going to be doing much because of the lack of BIOS. Yay. Okay, this is where this becomes a clusterfuck. Let's see. Yeah, let's figure this shit out right here. So when we measure the other side, I get absolute shit. So now we're going to just, well, let's take a step back from this because this is just becoming a circular loop. So the voltage that I need to turn on the BIOS is missing. The enable to turn that on comes from the PCH. PCH is not going to do much because the BIOS isn't on. The BIOS isn't on because PP3v3 sus is missing. Sus is missing because there's a missing enable signal. The enable signal comes from the PCH. PCH isn't turning on because the BIOS is not powered. The BIOS is not powered because it's missing 3.3 volt. This is becoming... No. Step back. Step back. New approach. Now we go through and do that whole physical inspection bullshit. But the thing with physical inspection, now that I've gone through the board and I've gone through my problem, I have context. I kind of have an idea of what it is I'm going to be looking for. So when I see physical damage or nasty shit, I'm going to have an idea of what is relevant and what is just bullshit. For example, Thunderbolt, total bullshit. So I see some red stuff. I'm going to start looking up what the red stuff is. Alright, so charger reset L is a little nasty. Now I'm just kind of grasping at straws, but what the... SMC reset L is responsible for sending that charger signal. Is SMC reset present? Because if SMC reset isn't present, then my SMC is not going to do the things it's supposed to. Huh. Like, you'll get a light, but the SMC is not really going to work the way it's supposed to. Sometimes you don't even get a light when SMC reset is missing. I feel like I'm onto something here. Alright, so charger reset L looked nasty, so I looked up that probe point. Didn't look the way I wanted it to. So that's over here. Charger reset L. So what I did is I looked that up from the schematic, and then that came from SMC reset L. So let's look up SMC reset L. Let's see where this comes from. Alright, I moved the multimeter out of the way of the camera because it's just easier to use that way. So you'll just have to trust me when I tell you what voltages I read. Yeah, it makes life a little easier for me to have that desk space free. Okay. Now when I look in that area, let's see. Let's check out that piece. Is SMC reset present? Unfortunately it is. I can't blame you missing for anything that's not working. But these points over here don't look very nice. Fortunately, those points are absolute bullshit. I don't care about CPU voltage sense. I don't give a flying shit of a fuck about LCD backlight sense because this doesn't even turn on. Let's see if voltage for the crystal is present. This was the power rail I said before that I didn't care about, which is really stupid of me to say that. because that's probably what's wrong. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I am an idiot. All right, so let's go on and talk about what's going on here. So PPV RTC G3 Hot is one of the power rails that I skipped over because I was just being an idiot. This is cool. It's good to have me being an idiot on camera because if I make stupid mistakes, then you'll kind of learn how to not make those stupid mistakes. So PPV RTC G3 Hot, it says 3 volts, right? 3 volts. So I'm going to take my multimeter and move it over here just so that you can see and confirm that I'm an idiot. All right, so I went over here to measure it, and I have 0.3. Oh, you can't see that because the lighting here is too obnoxious. .3. That's not 3. That's 1/10 of what I actually fucking need. Yeah, move over here. I like you better over here. All right, so now we're gonna go and find out why that's not being created. This is slavery. It's worth it though. My staff, they're some of the best people that you're ever gonna find. Seriously, I'm not saying that just because I think they may watch this. I know that they never ever watch any of this stuff, but they are the best staff that you can buy. Did I say buy? Rent? Hire. That's the word I'm looking for. Hire. But seriously, they are as good as it gets. You're not gonna find better people than those. They absolutely, positively deserve 2 weeks of additional vacation to have fun in another country. When you have people that are constantly looking out for you, who are constantly, not just doing their job, but like looking for all these little things that could go wrong and just to fix them. Like this is one of the things that I brag about. So, there was an inspector that came in, right? And the inspectors for the in New York, they're always looking for something. They will find something. There is a 900-page book, and it even says in the book, we are allowed to change the rules anytime we want. We can change any of this, and it's your responsibility to ask us for updated codes. We don't have to tell you when we change this stupid shit. You have to look for it yourself. So things like, for example, not having your license number on the top of the receipt, that's a fine. Not having your license number on the business cards, that's a fine. So we switched over POS systems, and I used to have my license number on my receipt. I learned that the first time, but then I didn't on this. So we noticed that the license number was missing from a few of the receipts. So the dude actually dials, like he did something with the phone or something. He dialed over so it would look like he was dealing with a customer. Then he goes into repair, kind of to buy time. He goes into the back end of repair shopper with the monitor tilted back. He edits the HTML to put in there the license number of my business. Then he prints a receipt. He says, okay, I'm printing a receipt for you right now. And then he printed for the customer that I think he was pretending to be on the phone with. It comes out there and he shows it to him and he's like, here, see? Like, how many people are going to do that? How many people for any salary are actually going to come up with some convoluted little scheme to pretend that they're on the phone so that they can change shit in the back end of your POS system to avoid you getting a fine? They're not going to do that. They're going to say, sorry, here's your fine, an inspector came by. But like people like that, like those are the people that I'm saying that you should hire. So when I'm talking to you about, getting rid of people that are not really building your business or helping your business, that's what I'm talking about. The people that I have, I will most likely never find these people again over the course of my life. I'll find new employees, I'll find new dedicated people, but people with that just general mindset of what is going on around me at all times. How can I make what's going on around me work better at all times? Like, I know that I'm most likely never going to find that again. Anyway. So PPV RTC G3 Hot, back to this bullshit. So PPV RTC G3 Hot comes out of U1900, and this also creates the clock for the PCH. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere here. So 32 kilohertz, right? Which, you know why I didn't check this? Because every single fucking board that I have checked this on for like at least 6 months Even when there's water on the chip, has the 32 kilohertz clock signal. I know I need it, and I know if I don't have it that my PCH won't work or my MCP won't work, but it's never missing. It's always there. I've just kind of gotten used to having it. And even though that's the first thing you should check on the oscilloscope, which, by the way, is not on my desk because I forgot to bring it out here, that's probably one of the reasons I didn't fucking check it, is, yeah. I should have checked that. I'm an idiot. I should not be doing this. I should not be teaching a class on how to fix boards or putting up a YouTube series telling people on how to do it because I'm fucking clueless. I'm not using my brain. So anyway, so PCH Clock 32K RTCX1. That now, if you know anything about how computers work, you probably know that they work based on a clock. So for different components to talk to one another, or for different not for different components to talk, for them to just work in tandem, they have to be working on a clock. Think of it like audio. If any of you guys that work in audio and you have, let's say you have a digital to analog converter and you want to run another one. So let's say you have 2 digital to analog converters. So instead of having 16 channels, you have 32 channels because you want more tracks. You need to link them together or else you're going to get something called jitter, which is a nightmare and clusterfuck of terrible, awful sound because they're not working at the exact same time. So this track is going to be kind of moved in phase versus this one. It's just a whole mess. Same is true here. You have a CPU, a PCH, you have other parts of the computer, you have Thunderbolt, the USB controller hub, all sorts of other things that all need to work in tandem. So I'm sending data while I'm listening to data. I'm sending it back while you're listening. This all needs to happen on a clock. If I'm talking at the same time that you're talking, nobody's going to hear anything and it's just going to be bullshit. So while people will very often interrupt one another, and we won't be able to understand what the fuck is going on because we're interrupting and debating. Just watch a political debate if you want to see an example of this. A political debate is that resulting mess at the end where everybody's kind of yelling at the same time. That happens because humans are not smart enough to have a U1950 to create a clock signal so that you talk while you shut the fuck up. Then you shut the fuck up so that he can talk. Without a clock signal, nothing is going to happen. And that chip is putting out 0.3 volts instead of 3 volts. Now that goes over to my PCH. I've done an awful job of explaining that because my brain is just dead right now. So I'll probably get a bunch of trolls on that. You're not a computer engineer. You don't know what you're doing. Shut up, Sharky. But, oh well. Fuck those people anyway. So that goes to the CPU. Anyway, so this chip is probably fucked. Let's see what U1900 looks like. So let's go over here. It's U1900. U1900. U1900 looks like cock and balls. All right, look at that little fucked up bullshit little capacitor. All right. And that's a little red probe point by there. That's right by my BIOS chip. Okay, time to turn on the iron and finally get something done. See, that's another sign of like an idiot touched board, by the way. For you people who want to be able to tell this stuff, I mean, even though I'm dead tired, and even though it's the end of the day, and I really just I'm not thinking straight. I realize that I'm not thinking straight. I realize that my brain is not working at more than 8% capacity right now. So I don't touch my soldering iron until I know that I have a diagnosis. And you saw that where I kind of realized that I was spinning my wheels. And once I got to the point where I realized that I'm spinning my wheels and I have a circular problem, so, I don't have 3.3, PCH is not producing PM sleep signal from my S4 rails. My S4, I need the sleep signal from the PCH. PCH needs the BIOS to work. BIOS doesn't work because it's missing 3 volts. Missing 3 volts because the PCH is not putting out a sus enable signal. It's like this circular shit. I realized at that point that I should take a step back and just kind of start over because I may have made a mistake. And I did make a mistake. I didn't check a rail, and when I'm editing this, I'll probably figure out the stupid fucking reason that I had for skipping over that rail. But yeah, just don't do that. That's dumb. All right, so I have a donor board here, and I'm going to take that part from the donor board along with that cap, and I'm going to put it on here. Now, I also didn't manage to check whether this chip has voltage going into it. So the VDD pin of this chip is... But I'm pretty sure that it's fine because PP3V3 S5 is at the VDD pin, so that's what's going to be powering it. And PP3V3 S5 is fine. And the trace, I don't think that there's any trace damage there. I didn't see any, except for the PPV RTC3V, whatever the fuck it was, out. So let's just carry on with my scheduled replacing of this crap. By the way, if you notice that it seems like I solder a lot easier than you, even though I suck at it, it's probably because you have a $100 IOE piece of shit, and I have a hot air station that I spent $650 on. So this chip is going to come off very quickly. And on the newer air boards, especially these newer air boards, you're going to notice that it's really difficult to take a lot of these components off, because every year they come up with a new way to have these boards, you know, just kind of act as a heat sink. And if you're using a shitty soldering iron, then you're kind of screwed. Like, as time goes on, your cheapness will screw you more and more. Come on, heat up, mofo. Beep, mofo. Beep, you mofo. Okay, let's get rid of that shitty old lead-free solder junk. Goodbye, mofo. There it was. You know what would be funny? If I fix this and Thunderbolt works, because that chip that's fucked up, or that looks fucked up, I shouldn't say is fucked up, is the Thunderbolt chip. And again, just because it's these people, just because I know who sent this board, I know the level of knowledge they have, I know some of the shit that they have done in the past. I just something tells me that Thunderbolt chip is good just because they said it wasn't. And look here, it looks like there may be a missing component. I'm not sure if it's no stuffed or not. One way to find out. See that, you trolls? I didn't leave a single strand on the board. Single strand of Q-tips, so fuck off. So this right over here, this kind of implies that there used to be something there. Let's see what Mr. Donor Board has to say about that. Actually, Donor Board says nothing. Okay, never mind. Stupid theory. Probably no stuff. Alright, so let's replace that chip. Wait, what do you mean replace the chip? Put solder on the pads, jackass. Alright, let's put some solder on the pads and then replace. Thank you for this fuck syringe. Oh. Okay, I put too much flux, as is my hallmark. People like to complain about it, and I love to not care. Alright, so let's heat up. Oh shit. Too much solder on the center pad. That's another hallmark of mine. Not being able to solder is actually a hallmark of mine. Oh well. You'll see. It's not going to matter in a second anyway. I lost the orientation of the chip. I clipped. Fuck. Mofo. Mobo. Luckily, I have another one. Thanks to David at Advanced Reworks for providing me with these donor boards at a reasonable price. Very quickly, too. Thank you, David. Center pad is too much solder. Oh no, what are we going to do? The center pad is too much solder. I guess you can't solder the chip. Oh wait, I forgot. I don't care. Humbled. Okay, let's get Mr. Curvy Tip. I love Mr. Curvy Tip. It fixes all of my fuck-ups. Sharky just bitches about my fuck-ups, but Curvy Tip actually does something about it. If I knew how to solder, I'd be dangerous. I have a feeling this board is going to have Thunderbolt right out the box. Something's just... Okay, don't popcorn the crystal right next door. Okay, now time for that little capacitor to get humbled. Whoops. I did everything I shouldn't while I was doing that. I left a piece of corrosion. I tipped over my chip, soldered everything on sideways, and I got flux on my finger. Mofo. Alright, so I'm going to take a bathroom break to wash the flux off of my finger. And what do you know? The fan spins because I fixed my problem. Now, what I'm really interested in here, what I really want to know, does Thunderbolt work? Because if this DisplayPort on this shit works, let's see if that's just for DisplayPort or Thunderbolt. I gotta see this. I mean, what I really got to do is go home and meet my bed. But U3220. I don't even know if that's just DisplayPort, Thunderbolt, both, U3220. And I'm kind of too tired to figure it out right now. Thunderbolt, DDC, DDC clock. Oh yeah, you are for screen, so I don't have to have a Thunderbolt device. I can just use my crappy little VGA Thunderbolt DisplayPort thingy that I have here. See, DDC. If you just Google and you'll find out what this stuff is. DDC is the circuit that allows the screen to talk to the graphics chip and vice versa. So I know that has something to do with the screen. So we're going to take a short break while I wash the flux off my hands, take a piss. Okay. Time to put this back together and see what's going on. And then go home. Oh, my kitty's going to miss me. He's going to scream at me when I get home. My kitty gets so pissed off when I don't pay attention to him. You have no idea. When I come home late, he just runs up to me and he goes, meow, meow. He's adorable. I love my kitty cat. He's the cutest kitty cat I've ever met. Turn off air filter. Turn off HAKKO. Turn off little microscope light. Oh, I need to iron this shirt. You know, it was actually good when I woke up this morning. I think part of what makes the shirt start to look like this is not lack of ironing so much as it is 12 to 14 hour workday. Like, my shirt kind of starts to take on the characteristics that I feel. This is going to boot slow as fuck because it doesn't have a battery and I don't feel like getting up to get a battery. Oh well. Let's see if you have a working keyboard. You gonna make anything easy for me, you piece of shit? I have here. I have an SSD and I have a USB 3 thingy here so that I can boot into an operating system. Come here, mofo. Yes, option key works. Awesome. I can boot into an operating system. I want to see that Thunderbolt shit works. Because visual inspection really only gets you so far. At the end of the day, what you need is a fucking brain. Oh, God. Oh, okay. So my SSD, for some reason, has Snow Leopard on it, which is never going to boot in this computer. Boo. What do I have on here? Tell me one of these has an operating system I can use. Mavericks, Yosemite. Give me something. Here we go. Yosemite. But it's on a hard drive, which means it's going to take forever to boot. So it's like hard drives. Like hard drives are kind of like lead paint or asbestos. It's just one of those things that we need to eradicate completely. They're a fucking cancer on the world. They really are. I mean, when I use a computer with a hard drive and I click the search button, and then before I haven't even typed the search term in yet, but I see a pinwheel. No, none of that random waiting shit. That needs to be done with. It's one thing if there was no solution, but knowing that there's a solution and seeing that crap. All right, so let's unplug this thing because it's the only fucking Thunderbolt port accessory I have in the whole store, which people are going to troll because I have a laptop repair shop. Don't you test the Thunderbolt port to full functionality? No, I don't. And half the time I actually cut it out of the board like an appendix. So what do you think of that? You purists would be so fucking pissed right now if you knew that. Oh my God. Okay, check it out. So the one chip, again, like, here's the thing with that self-estimate shit. If you listen to your customers, look, that's the issue. I see that's corroded. Replace that one chip that's corroded. Oh, your Thunderbolt chip is corroded. Well, guess what, motherfucker? Thunderbolt works. Fuckers. Not only does Thunderbolt work, but your machine was dead. So why point out the Thunderbolt chip? Look at me moving the mouse and trying to get it to show up on here. I'm being an idiot right now. But still, Thunderbolt is fucking fine. I knew it. I knew that Thunderbolt was going to be fine. Man, motherfuckers. Seriously, this is why, like, I love all the policies that I have in my business. I love them and they all have good reason. You know, if you, like, I don't do that thing with like the no fix you pay if you have your own estimate. I firmly believe that if you bring your own estimate, that you should be responsible for that, right? So again, I'm being kind of harsh. Just I'm honestly being a dick because I'm tired and I want to go home. It's not like they wanted me to replace that one chip. They were probably just trying to be helpful and put a little sticker on what was broken. But sometimes I see a poster which is like, you know, this and replace this, and it's like and I'm just trying to make a general point here. I'm not really making fun of these people. I am making fun of these people, but I'm not making fun of them in this particular case for that particular thing. It's a thing that happens all the time where people are like, I want you to replace just this chip. I want you to replace just this jack. I want to know, how much is it to replace these two resistors by the BIOS chip? I know they're bad. $325 plus tax. You know why? Do you know why? Because when I say it's $50 to replace those resistors, when I say it's $50 to replace those two resistors, you know what's going to happen when it's not those two resistors and I say, okay, give me the $50 and it doesn't turn on? You're not going to want to take responsibility for your estimate being bad. You're not. You're going to think that I fucked it up. You're going to think that either I fucked it up because I'm an idiot, or even worse, you're going to think that I fucked it up on purpose so that I could now upsell you on motherboard repair. And that creates conflict. And conflict, more time I spend with conflict, the less time I spend dealing with customers I want to deal with, the less time I spend in the microscope, the less time I spend making money. So what do? I eliminate conflict. What's a great way to eliminate it? Oh, wait, okay, how about we just don't have a lower tier of service? How about there isn't any? I'll just replace what you want me to replace for $50. There's no motivation to upsell you because there's no upselling. We start up here. There is nothing down here. I have nothing else to offer you. So there's no reason for me to lie. And now there's no reason for me to lie. There's no conflict, which is beautiful. But again, like people in general, they understand the concept. I can explain it to them. If your estimate is wrong, you will have to pay anyway. Because I started doing something, not because of my estimate. I spent an hour of time going down your rabbit hole. If I go down my rabbit hole for an hour, That's on me because I screwed up. But why would I go down your rabbit hole for an hour and not get paid at the end of it? Why should I have that 1 hour of my life taken away from me because you were wrong? See, if I'm wrong, I deserve that hour of my life taken away with no compensation. But if you're wrong and you ask me to do something, why should I have that time taken away? That's why a lot of people have these business models where you have to pay them regardless of whether they fix it if you tell them to do a certain thing. But the reality here is, no matter how you explain it to people, no matter how clear you make it, at the end of the day, when they're handing you $50 to get back something that doesn't work, they're going to feel bad about it. And when people feel, again, this is the problem with feelings. This is why I feel like feelings have no place in technology, and why I'm just sick and tired of hearing, I feel this and I feel that, is because it takes away from your rational thinking. Rationally speaking, you fucked up. Rationally speaking, you know you fucked up. Rationally speaking, in this particular segment of the world, again, while you may know way more about me than I do about chemistry, astrology, car repair, politics, I know more than you do about component level board repair. But you decided that you wanted me to do this because you know better than me. Okay, that's great. But you're going to feel bad when you get back that thing that doesn't work. So now the feeling, that silly feeling that makes no sense, is going to overcome the rational thought that maybe this guy was right who does this for 12 hours a day every single day of the year for many years, versus me who I just looked at this shit and I just came up with this idea out of my head that this is wrong because I'm just such a genius. They're not going to think that rational thought. They're just going to feel bad. And then that feeling bad kind of gets compounded, and then they start using that as fuel for all their accusations and for their arguments and for their bad reviews. And again, just get rid of it. Just have one basic tier of service, which is either pay me or fuck you at this price. And again, it just gets rid of all that. Because again, what I find so often is that people are not willing to pay for the consequences of their mistakes. They don't want to. So, and it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you get them to sign. If you tell somebody, I will charge you $50 to replace this charge port because you asked me to replace this charge port, and if I replace that charge port and it still doesn't turn on, that's on you. You could say that 1,000 times. But if you give it back to them, you say, I replaced your charge port, here's voltage going through to every part of the board, your board don't work, they're going to go, man, you fucked it up, or man, I don't want to pay, or man, it's unprofessional, man, I feel like I got ripped off. And again, I don't want to deal with that. I don't. I totally understand that for so many of these devices, it makes absolutely no fucking sense to pay what it is I'm asking you to pay. I get that. And I'm honest with you, and I'll tell you, you should not pay me to do that. But at the same time, don't try to get me to change my business model. I get so many calls where it's like, how much to replace my backlight fuse? How much to replace C7771? How much would it be to replace this chip? No. You know why? Because again, I'll replace that chip. It's still going to be dead because you're wrong. And if I even had the time, in the day to explain to you why you were wrong, I wouldn't be here fixing motherboards at 1 or 3 in the morning. If I even had the time to explain why you're wrong, let's just get away from that. You're probably wrong. And when you are wrong, you are not going to want to pay that $50. And there will be conflict. And you can say that you'll be fine paying it. But again, I've been doing this now for about 17 and a half years. And in that 17 and a half years, I really, honestly, truthfully cannot remember a single fucking time where I have taken money and not made something better, where the other person has not been pissed off or argued about it, and where I felt good. I don't feel good taking money without doing something. I don't feel good being a part of failure. And at the end of the day, as mean and as terrible as a lot of people think I am from this YouTube channel, at the end of the day, even if you are the reason that I wasted an hour of my life, even if I know deep down inside that I followed this path, I replaced this chip, and I wasted my time doing it because you wanted me to do it when it was the wrong thing to do and it wasn't the actual proper fix, and I know that you should have to pay me, I don't have it in me to take that money. I really honestly don't. Somewhere deep down inside, I can only take money if I know that I've improved a device, I've built a system that works. I can't take money and be a part of putting fucked up crap back into the world. I can't take money without knowing that I've actually provided something of value. If I have not provided something of value, I don't feel good about taking money, and I just can't do it. But I know that if I don't take money for my time, that I am going to stop paying rent, and I'm not going to have all these nice things, and I'm not going to have money to pay a staff, and I'm not going to have a business, and I'll be screwed. So I don't offer that type of tier. And again, I really strongly advise everybody who's doing anything like this as a living to come up with a no fix, no pay solution that works for you. Come up with a no fix, no pay business model that works for you. And if you really, honestly, legitimately realize that there is absolutely no way to make no fix, no pay work for you, look at what it is you're offering. Look at the services you're offering. Are you offering services that are high value? Or are you kind of doing something where you're just all, like you're all fighting and arguing over pennies, nickels, and dimes? So you really can't have that because every single one of those pennies is that very important. And if that's it, try to move on to doing something else. Again, like I understand why you don't want to pay me $300 to replace a connector. I get it. I understand. I will happily refer you to other people. I will happily show you to people that will more than happily do that for 35 or 40 bucks. And that's okay. Just don't ask me to change my business model on account of you. My business model allows me to get a lot of things done in a very, very short, tiny period of time as just one person. And without that business model, without that structure, my business would lose its it would just lose its dignity. It would lose its ability to avoid clusterfucks. It would avoid its ability to get all those things done in a short period of time and make a lot of people happy. Because once you start going down the rabbit hole and you start spending time on conflict, you don't spend time fixing stuff. You don't spend time fixing stuff. You don't give it back to the customer. Then you have to spend time arguing with all the other customers that you didn't fix things for. And then you spend all that time arguing with them, so you're not spending time fixing stuff. So then you spend time arguing with the other people that you're not fixing stuff for. It just creates this dangerous cycle, which is what all these repair stores go down, which is what I'm trying to get all of you guys to avoid through this video series. I'm probably talking out of my ass because it's really late and I'm really tired. So I'll call it a day here. And yeah, board works. And I'm quite happy. I'm going to test it. I'm going to run ASD on it. If everything works, it'll go back to the customer. And thank you for watching, and as always, I hope you learned something.